Hello, this is Movies in Short. The movie opens on a steep road in China, where a woman is requesting a ride. Her car seemed to be in trouble. An excited truck driver offers to assist, but the woman rejects him because she believes he is a pervert. A little while later, a good-looking man drives up in a car, and the woman jumps inside right away. Sadly, her choice proves to be fatal as she discovers a severed human hand close to her seat. This demonstrates that the man who appeared innocent was actually a serial killer. He stops his car immediately after that, grabs a wrench, and kills the woman with it. A few days later, the same road is being traversed by a public bus carrying a number of passengers. An insurance agent named Wang is amusing the driver, Tony, by relating how a woman went missing in this exact location a few days earlier. Everyone is then informed by a radio announcement that all roads are shut due to a catastrophic accident that occurred in a nearby intersection. Lee, one of the passengers, mentions that he must arrive at his place of employment on time. So Tony, the driver, proposes they take a diversion via an off-road route. Nobody complains to the choice, therefore the journey is doomed from the start. They eventually arrive in a dark tunnel, which Tony admits he has never seen before. He nevertheless keeps on driving. The bus abruptly comes to a stop as an unknown man unexpectedly blocks the path. However, the man turns out to be a passenger, and he, too, boards the bus. Everyone is scared as to what he was doing in the midst of the pitch-black tunnel. When Lee, who is reading a newspaper, learns that the enigmatic man is a wanted felon, he stealthily pulls out a knife for defense. There are two women on the bus, Jing, a pregnant woman, and Sarah, a would-be model. There are two siblings, Park and Fang, who are twins. Although Fang, the brother, appears to have autism, his sister is always there to take care of him. Tony begins to wonder if something is wrong when the bus is still within the tunnel after 20 minutes of traveling. He is aware that the longest tunnel in the nation is only 11 kilometers long and that it takes around 10 minutes to get through it. The troupe makes the decision to go back the way they came and turn around. Surprisingly, the entrance is still absent even after 30 minutes of rapid movement. It's a never-ending, gloomy tunnel with no indication of any other living things. Tony, the bus driver, stops the vehicle out of fear, and everyone exits to look. Strangely, Jing, a pregnant woman, discovers her phone, which she unintentionally left near the entrance around an hour ago. This demonstrates that the tunnel isn't your typical one. Lee assumes control of the situation when everyone begins to panic and instructs everyone to stop. He also makes the decision to seek assistance by walking for a few hours. But he wants to bring a long rope because it's really simple to get lost in the tunnel. Wang, the insurance agent, will hold the other end of the rope as Lee walks with the other end. He is fortunate that the pregnant woman is carrying a lot of knitting wool. Before he leaves, the enigmatic man who had earlier stopped the bus requests to go with him. Lee grudgingly consents. The two identify themselves along the way, and the man's name is revealed to be Chin. He does not, however, discuss his job or family. The surrounding passengers on the bus notice two figures approaching them from the opposite end as the weather gradually becomes cloudy. They prepare to face whatever is in front of them because they are afraid. But to their astonishment, the figures are none other than Lee and Chin. They had once more found themselves near the location of the first takeoff. Here, things just grow stranger. Despite being close to each other, Wang feels a sudden tug as Chin tugs the rope from the other end while he is still holding one end. Despite being straight, the tunnel repeatedly takes travelers to the same location, acting as an infinite loop. Lee proposes that everyone gather their food supplies and ration it carefully after realizing that they are stranded. Then, as the three women and the autistic Fang take a nap inside the bus, the four men go outside to survey the area. Jing wakes up after barely 30 minutes and discovers that the bus is completely covered in dust. She abruptly wakes everyone up and dashes outside. The men arrive at the same time and discover the bus to be in disrepair. When Tony checks on the meal right away, he discovers that it has all gone bad. This demonstrates that, in addition to the tunnel being unending, time also moves significantly differently in this place. Here, 1 hour of the outside world is equivalent to over a week. A map of the entire tunnel is waiting for them when they get back to the bus. It appears as though someone abandoned it and vanished without leaving a trail. Lee recognizes that someone is playing with them and accepts the challenge right away. He sets the map down on a table and begins to investigate the area. The lights abruptly go out right then, and when they come back on, Lee is gone. Instead, the group sees and cautiously follows a bloody trail. After Lee was either dead or kidnapped, the enigmatic guy Chin took control of the group. They arrive at a wall that seems to be hollow following the bleeding path. When they open it, they find a weird room filled with severed hands, several wanted posters, and, most importantly, an engineering diagram of the structure. It demonstrates that there are a total of 6 different tunnels, each of which connects to the next. Chin concludes that they must pass through all 6 tunnels in order to get out. Additionally, he expects that an entrance leading to the second tunnel will be present in this hidden area. The group discovers a strange calendar while still looking about the room, which has all the dates showing July 15th. When Chin pulls the wall calendar down after realizing it's a hint, a hidden wooden door is uncovered. The television in the room begins to show a woman who is imprisoned within a small cave after everyone has left. The gang then makes their way into the second tunnel, which oddly enough also has their bus parked in the exact same location. When they verify, they learn that the tunnel is the same but in a different time zone, so they start to worry if they have arrived at ground zero. The group moves swiftly into the now barbed wire encircled bus where they begin seeking for food. By the time they locate a carton of instant noodles, Tony, the driver, has turned nasty and avaricious. He discovers a revolver in one of the chairs and demands that the other passengers turn over all of the food. The group unwillingly follows orders out of fear for their life. Since time is passing quickly, they all experience hunger right away, which is slowly turning the group into animals. After some time, Sarah, a model, becomes too hungry to handle and approaches Tony with a proposal. She is prepared to sell her body for a packet of instant noodles. Tony nods his head in agreement, and they start making passionate love. Wang snuck into the bus while they were doing it and took a packet for himself. When Tony learns of this, he begins to beat him to a pulp, but someone stabs him from behind before he can kill the insurance agent. The remainder of the group quickly arrives on the scene and is horrified to see the murder. Despite this, Wang is unfazed and begins looking for a snack packet that he had left behind. He discovers a manhole when he squats down beneath the bus. The party instantly pushes the bus and goes down the manhole to get to another enigmatic room. This one also has some odd images and dismembered human body parts. In addition, the television depicts the earlier woman slowly drowning inside the cave. The group ignores this and proceeds to look for a way out, where they once more discover the same calendar. Another hidden door is discovered after it is removed. They soon all pass through it and arrive at the third tunnel. They are shocked to discover that this tunnel is now wet and darker than previously. There is also a bus, although it is infested with snakes and rodents. Wang eats some spoiled noodles out of desperation, which he soon regrets. Jing feels sorry for him when she sees him in this state and gives him a snack. Wang, however, raises his voice and demands the entire packet. He surprises everyone by pulling out a revolver and robbing everyone of their food when she declines. But his reign of terror goes on even after this. Every time one of them has perished, he concludes that they discovered a hidden tunnel. For instance, when Lee was kidnapped and Tony was stabbed, they discovered the wall and the manhole, respectively. In order to ensure that one of the last survivors leaves the area, he threatens to shoot him. Wang refuses to listen when Qin tries to calm him down. Instead, he makes the defenseless Jing fire at Qin's shoulder. After that, the psychopath drags the twins into an adjacent room and begins abusing them. Wang mercilessly kills Fang by shooting her repeatedly while she tries to defend her brother. Park can only weep as her sister slowly expires while the poor autistic boy. The out-of-control Wang then tries to choke Sarah, but is impaled from behind before he can do so. The party discovers a hidden passageway through which they enter the fourth tunnel, which is a psychedelic tunnel, after 2 more people have died. As Qin and Sarah inspect the bus while Qin is hurt, Jing gives birth and rests on the side with Park. Sarah experiences hallucinations and starts seeing people because of the location's psychedelic atmosphere. She exits the bus fearfully and moves in the opposite way, through a number of lying corpses. As she stands there and looks into the mirror, someone approaches her from behind and kills her. Qin goes back to Jing, who has just given birth to a boy. The surviving 3 then continue on, but it is discovered along the route that the young child has died. Jing is being persuaded to continue by Qin, but she suddenly pulls a knife and stabs him to death. Surprisingly, he unexpectedly awakens at a private complex after some time. He seemed to have awakened from some kind of experiment. We are then led to a top-secret military meeting after that. This is where everything starts to make sense. An army commander announces that James, the serial killer from the beginning of the film, has been apprehended. The issue is that he was discovered after a vehicle accident and was in a complete vegetative state. He has since slipped into a coma. James had abducted and killed a number of women, but Ciara is thought to be alive today. The issue is that nobody, including the serial killer himself, is aware of where she is imprisoned. Additionally, it is impossible to question him because he is unconscious. As a result, the military has made the decision to work with the top brain research facility in the nation. They intend to perform a memory transplant on James in order to access his mind and eventually learn the whereabouts of the victim. A great institution psychotherapist finally gained access to James' consciousness yesterday and discovered some hints. It is discovered that Qin is the psychotherapist. The army general goes on to say that they should trust Qin since he is the one who cares the most about the victim's safety above all others. It finds out that Ciara, the victim, is actually Qin's wife. Now that we know that what we witnessed previously happened inside James' subconscious mind, everything starts to make sense. But Qin's work is far from done. In the experiment from yesterday, he was able to deduce from a wall calendar that his wife is held captive close to the Zhang River. But due to the persistent downpour, the situation is urgent. Ciara's life is in danger because all caves on either bank of the river will be entirely submerged by the swelling water during the course of the next 36 hours. Qin must therefore enter James' awareness once more the following day in order to discover more hints regarding Ciara's precise location. The army general comes up to Qin that evening while he is alone and inquires about the situation. Qin then begins to describe his time spent inside James' mind and recalls how frequently the date July 15, 1996 appeared on calendars. According to the chief, the day marks the passing of the serial killer's parents. His father learned about his mother's romance with a driver on that infamous day. The two got into a heated disagreement over this, and it culminated with his mother stabbing him before she also did the unimaginable. Qin is shocked by the news, yet he keeps on talking about his experience. He claims that he was able to view both James' positive and negative sides in James' inner world. But ultimately, the good side fell short. The serial killer was a tunnel engineer by trade, so when he fell into a coma, he started to build a mental tunnel that served as a metaphor for his disordered mind. His mental tunnel is basically a fruitless cycle that goes nowhere. Qin's primary goal when entering James' brain was to bring him out of this never-ending cycle so that he may awaken from his coma. He didn't anticipate there to be as many split identities, though. Qin had to interact with each of them in order to find out more information about why his wife was being held captive. His new task was to track out the genuine criminal among these characters and question him or her to get the truth. He learned more about their characters as he developed a relationship with them. Li, who resembles James' sane and sensible side, has the best personality. There was optimism that James may break out of this cycle thanks to his positive nature. Sadly, the lights in the tunnel went out and he vanished without a trace. The situation became chaotic as a result of this personality's disappearance. Driver Tony, the second personality, eventually turned violent. This is consistent with James' aggressive nature. Wang and Sarah, the third and fourth characters, are James' inner projections of his own father and mother. His mother was a model, and his father worked as an insurance salesman. The sad issue is that when James's father mistreated him, his mother showed no concern and instead had an affair with their driver. This was exemplified when Sarah had sex with Tony the driver purely out of hunger. The fifth was Jing, who resembled his ideal mother in pregnancy. Despite having a positive attitude, he nevertheless had a dark side. Therefore, it likewise met its end. The twins representing his sixth and seventh personas are similar to him as a child. They are autistic, strange, and feminized but excel in math and space physics. One additional personality, though, was not on the bus. It is the most ferocious personality and is usually kept secret. This individual is responsible for the covert deaths of Li, Tony the driver, and Wang. Qin needs another experiment though in order to learn more. The second stage of Qin's memory transfusion is performed the next day. This time, he confronts James directly and asks him where his wife is. The cold-blooded killer, nevertheless, is reluctant to divulge the details right away. Instead, he launches into a tirade against his mother for murdering his father. He kidnaps ladies and kills them because of his insecurities regarding them. After telling Qin this, he leads him to other areas of his mind where different events from his life are being acted out. Qin, however, ignores them all in order to complete his job and confronts Park, James' autistic personality, who is James' weakest personality. His twin sister Fang intervenes as he tries to use manipulation to get the youngster to divulge the coordinates for where his wife is. Qin is then taken to a theater, where he meets the true evil responsible for all the atrocities inside the tunnel. It turns out to be none other than Qin. In fact, James' mind is so twisted and nasty that anybody examines it begins to think like a serial killer. The evil Qin explains that he killed each person within the tunnel one at a time, even the newborn infant, since he didn't want Ciara to be saved. Park, the terrified autistic boy, and Qin's wife emerge on stage all of a sudden. Park moves slowly towards Ciara with the intention of killing her, but he suddenly reverses course. The real Qin sees this as the ideal time to approach the terrified youngster and asks him to wake up and inform the authorities of where his wife is. Unexpectedly, Park concurs and departs. The two prepare for one last fight in a new location after the wicked Qin has taken him there. The two soon engage in combat, but just as the real Qin believes he has won, a second evil Qin clone appears, suggesting that he is impervious to harm. Ciara is about neck deep in the water while the rain has started to pour in other places. Just a few minutes remain before she is drowned to death. The real Chin begs to be allowed back into James' reality from deep inside his psyche. But his evil twin won't hear him. The real Chin comes up with a scheme right immediately. He understands that if he does the unthinkable, the wicked Chin will perish as well, and all of James' evil will be extinguished as a result. And as soon as he carries out his plan, the bad Chin vanishes, and James awakens in the hospital. He instantly informs the authorities about Ciara's position because he has completely transformed. As a result, Ciara is saved just in time, but Chin doesn't awaken. He is seen wandering through the never-ending tunnel as the film finishes, suggesting that he would never get home. Thanks for your watching.